Hi. I don't know if I'm on yet. Hi. I hope that this is starting, and I know that a lot of you have had trouble being able to get on today, and so have I. Yeah, it's been a little frustrating. Apparently, Facebook, I needed to update my browser, which I didn't know since last week, so that took me a good while to do. And not being very technical, guess what? I just learned something new. So, all right. Well, usually I like to give a minute or two for people to join, but I think there's a good possibility many of you have texted me and told me that you've been trying. So thank you. Thank you for trying to get on. And let me take that deep breath and recompose myself. And the good thing is that you can always come back and watch this at a later time. So if you were able to start it later or come back and watch, I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be here today. So please do feel free to comment or give me a little thumbs up. Let me know that you're here. So it is nice to be here again. This is the third of the series, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you for leaving comments and texting me and let me know what you thought of it. Thank you for sharing it with others. Many of you have actually told me that you've started to instrument some of the strategies, which is really great. And I'm excited for you. Kudos to you for just trying something new. And, even if it's only one thing, it's deciding to see things in a different light and stepping out of your comfort zone. So even if you haven't tried anything new, maybe you've started to be a little bit more aware. Doesn't that feel good? Isn't it interesting? I bet you've observed some things and went, look at that. Let me see. Interesting. So I want to remind you again of the purpose. So these sessions are really to help you get to a place where you've got more peace in your dealings with yourself and with other people. Ways that you can find more appreciation and more joy every day, that you can find more confidence, that you can open up your mind, do things differently, see things differently, and maybe just again, grab a hold of something or see something in a way you haven't done it before. I want to remind you that this is my perspective. These are tools, strategies, and ways of thinking that have worked for me, and I hope it inspires you. But please take what makes sense to you and leave the rest. Your life is such an individual path and such an individual journey. And I encourage you to just keep an open mind. Try some things that you normally wouldn't try that might be outside your comfort zone, but understand you don't have to try them all. You don't have to try any of them. Do what resonates with your authentic self. There's no judgment from me, and there shouldn't be any judgment from yourself. Overall, I just hope that these sessions inspire you to feel good about who you are, about what you're doing, about who you're being, and about who you're becoming. So tell me, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? And think about this. We talked about this on our last session. What's your answer to that? Are you fine? Are you okay? Are you tired? Are you depressed? Are you stupendous and great and wonderful? Answer the way you want to feel. Do you want to feel tired? Do you want to feel depressed? Or do you want to feel, you know what, Gretchen, I feel pretty good today? Answer the way you want to feel. So what's come up for you this week? Are you starting to relax your shoulders a little bit? Are you getting used to this routine? Are you more frustrated because we are in a holding pattern and we really don't know when the next step is? Are you getting used to wearing your gloves and your mask and juggling your wallet and your purse if you decide to go to the store, or the same thing if you accept delivery of food or of groceries? Are your kids getting used to the routine? Are you getting used to the routine? Are you maybe actually having some curbside cocktails and some social distance time with some of your friends and with others? Are you getting more walks and more sunshine, or existing in the windy, cold polar vortex like we had last week, right? Is work getting more routine? Are you getting more motivated? Are you getting less motivated? And for those of you who aren't working right now, have you found some interesting things to do, or ways to start putting yourself out there if you're not working, or make connections, or just find some different things to do? Have you reconnected with friends? Zoomed with your family and organized everything in a house, maybe for the second time, right? I'm hoping that maybe you've started to be aware of how you're feeling and try to start deciding whether or not you want to feel, act, and react the way you've been, and maybe start to offer yourselves some alternatives. But listen, all this doesn't mean that you're not going to get in a funk. I think I tend to hit funks, I would say, every couple of days. It's so much right now. It's so emotional. It's like a roller coaster. But I'm starting to recognize when I'm in the funk and find out what it is best for me to continue living through the funk and not just succumbing to it. I'll give you an example. One day last week, I was completely brain dead. I was shot. So instead of doing anything more proactive, I cleaned like I've never cleaned before. And let me tell you something. I like to do a lot of things. I'm pretty open-minded. I'll go to the opera, I'll go to the mud races, but I do not like to clean. My mother and my grandmother cleaned houses. And so my mom was extremely meticulous. It had to be done every week. We had to wake up at 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings to clean the house. So I am terrible at it. I don't like it. And I think being terrible at it is part of a strategy that I probably learned at a young age so she wouldn't ask me. But guess what? She still asked me, and now in my own house to clean. So that didn't get me anywhere. But what I realized that day is that I had a choice. I don't think my brain had a choice. I was spent. I was totally spent, but I chose to pivot to do something different, something that still made me feel like I was moving forward, but just in a different way. I was aware of myself. I was aware of my mood. I was aware of my capabilities, and I adapted. So let me ask you, have you been and are you trying to be aware of what you're feeling and what you need? Are you being kind to yourself? We need this always, but we need it now more than ever. Be aware of how you're feeling. Be aware of what you need. Give yourself a break. Adapt, pivot, shift. But if you can, keep moving forward. So let's start with a little grounding exercise, if you don't mind. So last week when I talked, I asked you to visualize a place that you see yourself going that makes your shoulders relax and your breathing even out and make the stress just drain away. And if you weren't here last week, think of that now. What is it for you? May I invite you to find that place again? Close your eyes for a minute. What is that place? Mine literally is in a tree, up in a tree while I'm hiking. And why does this make me feel this way? Because I've exerted myself in order to get up into that tree. It took some movement, which I love, and some coordination and balance. I'm touching nature, and that does so much for me. I'm feeling the air and the wind on my skin, and I'm hearing the birds, and I'm looking out and seeing nature. Use all of your five senses. What is it for you? Step into that for a minute. Close your eyes and be there. Savor it, feel it, experience it. Doesn't that feel good? So remember, open your eyes, and think of that place. Keep that place close to you. You can go there anytime that you need to center and ground yourself, right? So that brings me to another theme that we haven't talked about yet. And that theme is being present. The tie to what I just told you, I'll bring about in a second. So in terms of being present, we are always not being present, right? We're always thinking about, what do I have to do? And we're stuck in what we did. And we're thinking about, oh, I wish I would have done this differently, or it went differently, coulda, shoulda, right? And we're thinking about what we have to do and what we should do and how it should go, right? What about now? What about right here and savoring exactly where we are right now? In a very simplistic way, this is mindfulness. There's so much out there on mindfulness, right? But this is mindfulness, being mindful of what is right here, right now, how something tastes, how either your bum, gymnastics terms, or your feet feel connecting with the earth or with your chair right now, right? How something makes you feel when you hear it, the emotions coursing through your veins, right? Appreciation of whatever it is you have and see right now. That's presence. And I encourage you to keep that at the forefront of your mind. It's easy to get in the past and to get in the future, but bring yourself back. We're always rushing to something else. What about staying right here? I saw a bumper sticker once that made me so happy, right? So you always see those bumper stickers that say, I'd rather be fishing. I'd rather be on the beach. I'd rather be in Florida. I don't know. This bumper sticker said, I'd rather be right here, right now. I loved that. Right here, right now. I want to put that up everywhere and look at it every day. Um, I've read before that you should keep that mindfulness all the time, even when you're doing dishes. Just concentrate on doing the dishes. I don't want to think about doing the dishes. We already established that, right? I want to daydream, or I want to listen to a podcast at the same time, or I want to be simultaneously making dinner. Um, but it's something to think about. Whatever you're doing, concentrate on just that thing. Let me give you an example with my son. So he's so creative and he still loves to invent things with his dinosaurs and his animals, and we make zoos and all this stuff. And he'll say, Mommy, come play with me. And, I'm going, I got to make dinner. I want to work out. I got to get back to clients. Like, I got all this stuff that I want to do. I want to call people. I want to respond to a text. And what I've decided to do is look at the clock, and let's say it's 6 o'clock, and set 20 minutes for myself. I don't make a timer or set a timer because I don't want him to realize what I'm doing. But for me personally, I'll say, okay, it's 6 o'clock. I am going to sit down with him on the floor for 20 minutes, and I'm going to give him my undivided attention. I'm going to be present. I'm going to have a war with the dinosaurs and the sharks and build Legos or whatever it is for 20 minutes. I'm not answering my phone. I'm not looking at my phone. I get my water or my drink. I do whatever. I turn some music on, and I am present. I am there for 20 minutes. And you know what? It feels awesome. Give that to yourself. Give that to your loved ones. So how do you remain in the present? Well, again, it's that awareness, right? Trying to recall it and bring yourself back. It's reminders. Maybe put that up in writing somewhere. Be present. I'd rather be right here, right now. Stick it somewhere. Practicing it over and over. When you see yourself getting into the future, say, hey, get back here. Come back, come back. And it's also choice, right? So let me give you that tie into the visualization that I gave you a few minutes ago. That visualization, you're going, hey, Gretchen, you told me to visualize, so that's going into the future. What gives? Doesn't make sense. How it makes sense is that you will find your mind going crazy. You'll go into the past, you go in the future, you go round and round and round with something you can't figure out, or think of your to-do list, etc. When you take a moment to get into that place that brings you back to a calm and a center, then you can reopen your eyes and you can concentrate on where you are again. You can bring yourself back to the present by that simple exercise. All right, so today we're going to get very specific about activities and actions that bring about alignment, specifically in the morning, but you can do them anytime. So to recap the session so far, and they are on my pages, so you can go back and see session 1, which was a bit of an introduction in general about me and what these sessions will be all about, with just 1 or 2 strategies. The second session went into general strategies and themes to keep in mind. And now going forward, we will start to drill down to more specific actions that you can take. Like today, again, we're going to talk about some morning activities, activities that will set you and keep you in alignment. We'll also talk about exercise and moving and nutrition. We'll talk about time management and time blocking. We'll talk about self-care and many other topics, but those are just some of them that we'll focus on at later dates. So let me recap the themes. The themes are awareness, keep it in top of mind, right? Desire, you have to want to make a change or see things differently. Choice, we have a choice every day in the way we act, react, feel. Practice and action. Take little steps every day in the direction of the life you want to live, and keep practicing. Just because you did it 1 out of 10 times this time, you'll do it 2 out of 10 next time, etc. And then belief that life can be what you want it to be, and you can be what you want to be, right? So quickly, let me cover the strategies we talked about in previous sessions, and you can always go back and see more information about them. So feel your feelings, then say goodbye. Journal. We'll talk about that a little bit more today. Talk to yourself nicely. Were you nice to yourself this week? Did you tell yourself how awesome you are? Motivation. What is your motivation for wanting to see things differently and be in a more positive perspective? Finding a better feeling thought. Moving up that emotional scale. Acting as if. Throw that smile on your face. Take a couple deep breaths. Put those shoulders back. Stand up straighter. Tell yourself how confident and how amazing you are, and you will become it. Actions, take actions every day, even if it's a little visualization or a little bit of daydream or a little actual research into what you want to do and where you want to go. Celebrate every little success. Here's a celebration for you. You're here, right? You're doing something for you. Another celebration, you probably fed yourself today. You might have even fed other people. Yay, right? You may have even showered today or yesterday. What, celebrate it. You did it. The last two, this one is believing in yourself and believing in your dreams and believing that it will all be okay and that you're worthy and that you're worth it. What's it? It is whatever your dreams are. You're worth it. And then lastly, and as I said before, this is one of my favorites, what lights you up? Have you started to think this week, or if you weren't here before, think about what lights you up, what makes you happy? What are you so excited to go and do? This is so cool. Make that list. Start to do some of those things that are on your white lights you up list. I forgot to add two last week that I wanted to share. One is inspiring others. To me, I am fulfilled when I help give others a way to break out of what they're stuck in and to see something different. When I'm coaching somebody or having a conversation or doing a group session and I get up, oh, aha, or that's how interesting. You know what? It gives me a little more freedom of choice. I'm going to try that. That makes me really happy. A second thing is inspiring other people to move and to be silly and to play and to be creative and have fun. For example, I like to hike, and I do have some friends who all like to hike, and we initiate it together, but I am one who really does initiate. Come on, let's go, let's go. And when we're there, I'm walking on a log. I went for a socially distanced beach walk with a friend and her son and my son the other day, and I initiated us to get out there. It was windy as anything, but we went anyway, and then we walked, and it was fun. And at one point, I threw up my hands in the air, and I ran around in a circle and hollered like a loon in the sand. It was ridiculous, and then everybody did it. It was really funny. And then another example is for the kids' field day. One of the suggestions was to do an exercise for each letter of the alphabet, right? So my son and I sat down over breakfast, and it was easy to come up with abs for A, burpees for B. But what do you come up with for O, right? So we came up with the octopus shuffle, okay? So we came up with something from A to Z, and then we went into our backyard, and we did a Zoom call with about 5 other families. And I was so excited. They were all silly. We demonstrated them, and then we ran around and did them for 15 seconds, and we wore a silly costume and outfit. And so we positively affected and inspired 5 other families to go and move and be silly first thing, during the day. It was really kind of fun. So let's move on to some of these strategies for today. So I like to do a lot of these in the morning. And the reason I'm going to harp on the morning are all things that I'm going to tell you as we're going forward here. But you can do them at any time. But when you put some of these into theory in the morning, it helps set the tone for your day from the very minute you wake up, before you check your phone, before fear and anxiety creeps in, before your to-do list dictates your day, before anyone else has the chance to need you or annoy you or love on you or whatever else that they need to do. See, sleeping refreshes us, it recharges us. It allows you the opportunity to wake up and have a brand new day to be who you want to be. So wake up and take charge of that. You have control. You have a choice. If you take the time to align and center yourself early, it's easier to not just get swept up into your day. It's easier to start your day off out of the gate with your own preferences. Then you do your best to hang on to what you want for that day, no matter what's in your path. It's not easy, but when you start with that, it is easier to stay on the path that you want for the day. The other cool thing that could happen, it all depends on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. But if you come up with some strategies and a routine for your morning alignment, it might just allow yourself a little bit of solace that you don't always have, depending upon what your life or your family life is like. Maybe you do get into that habit about waking up earlier before anybody else is up. Or if you've got people who wake up early too, maybe it's just known that that time is carved out for you in the morning to do certain things every day. And don't say but yet. Don't say I can't do it. Here's the reasons why. Mind your butts. Just think about it. Think about the fact that a habit, a morning daily habit and ritual can be something that you can put aside for yourself to start your day with peace. So here are some benefits to aligning yourself in the morning. Again, that time of solitude to prioritize your own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual care. It's a time maybe to check in with yourself physically and emotionally, right? It can be a way to start the day in peace and harmony. It can help you remain in a centered state of balance throughout the day. It can even stabilize your energy, your mood, and sometimes your hunger. A calm mind will help you make choices with more clarity. And this also can help you operate with more kindness, more gentleness, more gratitude, and more compassion. So AM type of strategies, there's a ton out there. These are ones that have worked for me, that I like, that I've read about, that I've started to put into play. There are plenty more out there, but these are some that I'm going to talk about. And like anything else, it takes practice. If I were you, I would consider maybe just taking one, maybe two away and starting to commit to them and see how that works for you. All right, so let's dive in. So the first one is thinking good thoughts as soon as you wake up. So I was listening to a podcast by Esther Hicks and Abraham a couple of days ago about laws of attraction. And laws of attraction talks about not only what you think, feel, and say comes back to you, but also whatever you're thinking, saying, and feeling builds momentum. So if you think a good thought for as little as 17 seconds, and then another, and then another, and then another, you're building momentum of that positivity. Think about the opposite way. If you think a negative one, then another negative one, then another negative one, or you go negative to positive to negative to positive, um, you won't build that same momentum. So maybe as soon as you open your eyes, you're still in that dream state. You start to think of some things that make you feel good. Maybe it's just how wonderful your bed feels or how good that coffee is going to taste. Maybe visualizing your favorite place. Maybe hugs, maybe sunshine. I don't know what it is, but whatever makes you feel good. Build and layer some pleasurable thoughts on top of each other before you get out of bed. First thoughts when you wake up. This is easy. You can do this. So that's strategy one. The second strategy is also before you get out of bed. I like this. I've read people say that they express gratitude for something before they put their feet on the floor. Maybe you're praying and not just expressing gratitude. Um, Gratitude and prayer are ways to get closer in alignment with whatever guides and inspires you. And maybe you layer this on with the first strategy, right? But what you're doing is being grateful or thinking these positive thoughts first thing in the morning before you get up. And maybe it's a simple, oh my God, I'm so grateful for my bed. Maybe it's a thanks for this new day. Period. That's it. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's a prayer for the health of a loved one. Maybe it's an ask to the universe, to whomever, to whatever, for a smooth and peaceful day. Look, these first two are very simple. It's just being aware and choosing to grab onto, to latch onto something that's a little bit more positive, and have your day start out with those sort of thoughts on the positive side. So thinking about something positive, offering some gratitude or prayer right away. The next one is affirmations. And this kind of brings you back to acting as if, right? The more you say it, the more you believe it, the more you live it, it really works. Affirmations are so powerful, and the more feeling and belief, and the more often you say them, the more repetition you put behind them, the more powerful they become. So affirmations, sometimes people get a little resistant to, like some of the other strategies that I'll talk about. But hear me out. Let's talk about them for a minute. So you're not going to write the affirmations in the morning, right? But it's when I think one of the many times you can say them. So I tend to sit down in the beginning of each year and I write out my affirmations and I think about them and write a couple affirmations for all sectors of my life. So for work, for family, for health, for spirituality, for education and growth, money, love, fun, and adventure, for relationships. I write a long version and then I write a short version. And since I love this stuff so much, I actually have them all in bright colors on the inside of my bathroom cabinet. I've also recorded myself saying these affirmations, and sometimes in the beginning of my meditation, I play it back to myself. So for you, you don't need to do that. That's a lot. You can, by all means, or you can write a couple of short affirmations that are specifically aimed to what you want to grow at, or how you want to see things differently, or what's important to you right now. So a note on affirmations is they should be stated in the I am, I will, I do. You can put them in I will or I want to, but they're more powerful if you're invoking the energy and the feeling and the emotion right now as if you're already there. Okay. So when to say them? Well, I do like saying them in the morning because I think, again, it starts you off in that frame of mind to move forward for the day. Maybe you say them in the morning and you say them over and over again throughout the day. Maybe you have them written on the inside of whatever it is you carry with you, or on the front of your phone. Like I talked about last week, sometimes if I want to remember something, I actually take a picture of it and I put it on my home screen on my phone. Maybe those are your affirmations. Maybe you get into a routine where you do have them recorded and you play them a couple times throughout the day. The more you say them, the more they float around in your head. They become your mantra. They become your belief. You say them, you repeat them, you believe them, you live them. It may seem sort of silly at first. If you don't feel healthy and you say, I am healthy. If you don't feel successful and you say, I am successful. But continue saying it over and over again, and you will be in that place to go, you know what, I am successful. And you're going to see more and more of that come right back at you. Let me share with you a couple of my basic ones. So I inspire others. I am successful. I am healthy. I nurture my relationships. I grow my mind. I nourish my body and soul. I am happy. I am supported and loved. So those are just some of those things that I try to tell myself every day. And then, you know what? I really feel that way because I am. And then it becomes a circle. I feel this, I am, I bring more, I get more, I am. It's really, it's kind of cool. So good thoughts, gratitude or prayer, affirmations. The next one is going to be meditation. And I can hear the shifting in your chair right now. There's a lot of resistance points around benefit meditation. But the benefits to meditation are, oh, they're massive and they're proven. Meditation is hot right now. It's in everywhere you read for a good reason. Meditation reduces stress. It increases clarity and focus. It increases awareness, a lot of what we're working on, right? It increases your mood and decreases depression, anxiety, aggression. It can increase kindness to yourself and to others. It can improve sleep. It can even help you control and lessen some pain. See, overall, meditation helps you be more effective in reacting to what life throws at you, at keeping the state that you want to stay in, at being aware of how you're reacting, and giving you a greater ability to self-regulate, right? It allows you to be more even keeled and think before you react. It really allows you to be more successful in all areas of your life. And I was resistant too. I remember reading a book that was exploring different religions, which I'm super interested in. And half the book was about religions and half the book was about meditation. And I would groan every time I got to it, you know. And then now when I think about that book, I'm like, wow, I need to go back and read it again because I meditate now on a regular basis. And I have been doing it for years. I do it for a very short amount of time. That's just me. But I really, truly think that I have seen the benefits that I just talked about for meditation. So if you're just beginning meditation, there's a lot of different options. And a lot of people say, I don't want to do it. I'm not very good at it. I don't think I'm good at it. My mind is everywhere. But then I read things that say, you don't have to be good at it. Stop judging yourself. There's no judging in meditation. So it doesn't matter if you're good at it or you're bad at it. The basics for starting are just to find a place to sit comfortably, to close your eyes, to think about your breathing, and to calm what they call your monkey mind. When your mind's all everywhere, just try to calm it down. Bring yourself back to your breath over and over and over again. And there's so many ways to bring yourself back to your breath. It could be just counting your breathing. Breathe in 1, breathe out 1, and 2. It could envision your breath coming in, feel it coming in through your nose and down into your lungs, right? Sometimes they say when your mind gets out of control, think of something that makes sense for you to bring it back. I tend to think of when my mind is going somewhere, I throw it in a cloud and I watch the cloud blow out of my eyesight, right? You can repeat a mantra like love or peace or joy. Maybe you repeat the same one. As you breathe in, you say peace. As you say out, you say peace. Or maybe you say one in the breath in and one in the breath out. But you can do that for the whole time. I love this. And my favorite and most wonderful yoga teacher, Eugene Feiss, has us do this sometimes at the end of our yoga class. And it's concentrating on your body, going through each part of your body. And so here's an example right now. Right now, think about your toes. Now think about your feet. Think about your ankles. Concentrate on your calves and your shins and your knees. Come all the way up on your thighs, backs of your thighs, the front of your thighs, your hips. You can imagine the rest, right? So doing this, you actually will concentrate on those different body parts and you breathe through it and you can actually feel an energy and a sensation. But here's the other thing. Your mind is focused, your mind is aware, and guess what? You're meditating. Okay. You can also listen to a guided meditation. I started out this way for sure, and I still use guided meditations sometimes. There are a lot of free apps out there like Insight Timer, Headspace, Calm, Aura, or you can download a starter program. The cool thing about some of these too is they'll have not only topics, but they'll also have time limits. So I used to pick one that was 0 to 5 minutes. Now I'll pick one that's 6 to 10. So I think that's really helpful too. And it chunks it down into something smaller and not so overwhelming. The fact is, if you're interested in meditating and you want to just see if this works for you, just start. Maybe you set yourself a place to do it every day. Like in my office, I have a chair and a blanket, and I sit in the same way every day. Maybe you start with 1 minute. Maybe you stay in bed. Maybe it's at the kitchen table. It doesn't matter. Start with 1 minute, and then maybe you move to 2 or 3. There is a ton of research too on the lengths of time that are the most effective for meditation. And that's great. I'm happy there's a lot of research out there. Everybody's got to do what's right for them, what fits into their schedule. I used to just do 5 minutes and then I set it for 6. Now I set my timer for 10 minutes. I don't usually get to 10 minutes. I usually get to 6, 7, 8 before I start stretching and fidgeting. Sometimes I do get to 10. It's awesome. I'm so excited. But I still feel, even with that short amount of time, that it gives me a lot of benefits. And I do have people who say, it's not meditating. That's okay. You can feel whatever you want to feel. Everybody can. Just take that minute to just give it a shot if you've never done it before. All right. So good thoughts, gratitude, affirmations, meditation. Now let's talk about moving a little bit in the morning, stretching, or a little yoga, or a full-on workout if that's what you prefer. So I don't know about you, but how creaky is your body when you get up? And maybe you're like, my body's not creaky. I jump out of bed, All right, I used to, but not now. My gymnastics war-torn back and my high-impact step aerobics instructor days have done a number on my body. So I get out of bed and I'm walking like a hobbled-over old lady with a cane for about the first 10 minutes. But what helps me set my body straight and make me feel more confident and strong for the day is doing some stretches. And it really helps me move. It oils my joints a little bit. I have a set of back exercises that I do every single morning, and I've done them for years, so I don't have to think about them anymore. After I meditate, I come out to a different room, and I usually put on a inspirational podcast, and I get my stopwatch, and I do my exercises for 20 or 30 seconds each, and I go through the whole routine. And now I've added some yoga stretches on, but I do it every morning. I do a little neck, and I do a little shoulders, and it just makes me feel again ready to take on the day. I usually tack on some ab or butt exercises as well. Those are the 2 target areas that I try to tag on every day on top of that. And it's only an extra 5 to 10 minutes for me. You don't have to do that either. If it's a day in the great before COVID, when we left our houses, that I was going to kickboxing, for example, I knew that I would do abs and butt there. So I didn't put them in my morning routine. But maybe I will add them in the mornings, right in that little standpoint. And then I feel a little bit of a burn throughout the day, which is great. And maybe you're the kind of person who wants to do a full-blown workout in the morning. That's fine, whatever works for you. We'll talk about moving and working out in another session, but remember that whatever time is best for you or for your schedule to work out is what you should do. I've really read into this a lot, and there's really no exact details on when the best time to work out is. So if you want to add a full-blown workout into your morning, go ahead. My point here is just some basic movement, some stretching, some getting yourself ready for the day is a way to make you feel more confident and stronger to start your day. All right, on to the next one, which is inspiration. Getting some sort of external information. Yes, your affirmations and your meditation can definitely inspire you, and maybe that's enough. Here, though, I'm talking about reading a book, listening to a podcast, some article or something else that's motivational, or a religious program, not the news. This is setting yourself up to have that inner state that you want for the day. Maybe it's sitting down to read a book and highlighting and writing like I do, which is crazy. Maybe you're listening to a podcast while you're doing the dishes, or in the great before, maybe that was while you were preparing the lunches for the day, where now you may just be preparing breakfast. Maybe you're listening to that podcast while you're doing some stretches. Maybe it's a few quotes you're rereading, or some magazine articles that you've wanted to read that are about happiness, or something that gets you into that state, or the Bible or something like that, whatever it is to give you that external motivation. Personally, I try to look for the first inspiration that I'm reading. I like to be something that is more of a spiritual, mood enhancing, personal growth type of message that actually focuses me and keeps me in alignment. Sometimes like motivation, laws of attraction, those sorts of things. I do quite a bit of reading as well on coaching, success, general motivation, even human resources. But I personally like to wait to read those until I've set my inner state first. And I believe that when you can set your inner state first, that it helps you receive the information from a more centered and open-minded place. But you do what's right for you. But get those messages and those words into your consciousness early on. I think it's very, very important to do this to keep you on that path. But you have to pick what inspires you, what speaks to you, what keeps you motivated and enlightened, and in the alignment that you want. I'm happy to suggest some things that have been helpful to me if you're interested. All right, so moving on. Good thoughts, gratitude, affirmations, meditation, moving in the morning a little bit, inspiration. And now let's quickly move on to journaling. I am a huge fan of this. I mentioned this before. You don't have to be, but you know what? Listen, give it a hear, see what some of the benefits of that journaling can be and how it might be able to work for you. So we laughed last time and talked about this isn't the normal lock and key journal or diary that you had when you were in junior high. This is going to be anything that you want to write in. And why are you writing in a journal? Why is this beneficial and helpful for you? What do you use a journal for? So maybe you're simply writing how you feel. Maybe you're recording what happened today or yesterday. Maybe you're recording how you want to feel. You're setting your intentions and aspirations and alignment for the day. Maybe you're thinking about what you want to change and why, that desire piece, right? Maybe you're sorting through a problem and trying to solve it. Or you're really sorting through a state of mind. Maybe you're self-reflecting. You notice things, you're aware of things. Maybe you're spewing some of your emotions on paper before you spew them out at somebody specifically, right? Maybe you're carving out your dreams and your ideas for growth. You're setting your goals and you're tracking your progress. You're working through your goals because the more you write about it, the more you start to figure out whether this is what you really want and drill down to the layers of why and how that's going to work and how it evolves and what you really want. So I think that's a really good thing that I've used my journal for. And also just jotting down those great ideas that you have. You can use it for organizing your day if you choose to. You can use it for celebrating your success and your progress. Maybe you're reliving some moments you want to recall or reminding yourself what you want to remember. Maybe you're recording your reflections. For example, maybe you read or listened to something and you want to write about how it resonates with you and what that means to your life and your goals. Maybe you're writing what lights you up, right? Or that place, you're jotting down details of that place you want to go when you need to ground yourself and center yourself. Maybe it's a way just to keep your thoughts organized and clarify them. Maybe it's a chance to be creative. One day I was writing in my journal, and for some reason, my mind, I don't know, it wanted to talk about going across a swinging bridge and dipping my toes into the pool of love. And I just went off for like 3 or 4 pages. I read it a couple of days later, and I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. But it's where my mind wanted to go that day. It's kind of fun. Journaling can actually relieve some stress. It can clarify some thoughts. It can be a really nice, happy, and healthy reprieve. So how do you do it? How do you write in a journal? So pick a journal. It can be a random notebook. It can be one of your kids' notebooks that they don't use anymore. There's a couple drawings in the front. It can be paper you staple together. But I think it's kind of fun if you pick something that inspires you, that excites you. And I also see this in akin to working out sometimes. If you go and you get the clothes, you're more ready, you're more inspired, you're more excited about it. You can still work out in anything you have. You can still write a journal in anything you have. But when you get something that's sort of exciting to do, that might cause you to write in it more often. I also really like having a fun pen, or a pen that you like the way it writes, you like the color, etc. I have ordered these purple pens for years, and while I was writing this the other day, I realized something that's crazy. I'm big into synchronicities, and these pens are called Energel. My company is called Energy HR and Coaching, and these pens that I've used for years are called Energy L, energel. Isn't that funny? Synchronicity is its best. Anyway, so decide on your method or methods. Maybe you simply just want to free write. Maybe you pick it up, you write a couple things, you put it down. That's cool. Whatever works for you. Maybe you want to set a timer. Or maybe you want a template or a format that you follow. There are tons that you can find online. Maybe you just have little questions you answer every day, like, what's my intention today? Today's mood, biggest win or thing that made me the happiest from yesterday. What I'm excited about for today. What do I want to remind myself for today? Or maybe you write about some of the topics we've talked about. There are no rules with journaling. This is for you and for your health. The only rule maybe is try not to write on the first page because it seems to be a lot of pressure, right? But other than that, write about whatever you want. And if you don't feel like writing, don't stress about it either. I encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and try it if it's for you. But don't judge yourself if you do it or not. Don't check your grammar. Don't check your accuracy. Don't see if you actually got the facts right. Don't be literal or correct. Just write. Just get it out. Don't fear who might read it. Just write. I often give assignments in my coaching around brain dumping. And this is kind of like brain dumping. Just write. So that's journaling. I think it's a really positive trait, but it's not for everybody. So next I want to talk about gratitude. And the reason I put this here after journaling is because you can put your gratitude, your daily gratitude, within your regular journal, or you can have a separate journal. But with gratitude, what I would encourage you to do is keep it very, very simple. Write every day, write what you're grateful for. So for example, and maybe write 3 things. I think 3 things is a nice number. For example, for Christmas this year, I bought some of my friends and family a very, very simple gratitude journal. And I bought myself one as well. And on each 2-page layout, there are 7 entries. And each entry is a day and 3 lines. And all you write are what those 3 things are that you're grateful for every single day. I bought my son one too. And it's great because he has a really fun pen. It has like a fuzzy head on the top and googly eyes. And he writes in his grateful journal every night before he goes to bed. And sometimes he's really grateful for his stuffed animal. And he's really grateful that he played Fortnite with his friends. But sometimes he is grateful that he has a bed to sleep in or that he made somebody smile today. I don't care what it is. The fact is you're writing down what you're grateful for, and gratefulness and appreciation has a proven scientific effect on your mood when you write that down. All right, so we're almost done with this list now. Good thoughts, gratitude, affirmations, meditation, moving a little bit in the morning, inspiration, journaling, gratitude. This one is a little different, but I read it once and I started doing it and I love it. And it's drinking hot water with lemon and ginger every morning. My friend Erin does this too, I think, minus the ginger. I read these benefits that drinking this in the morning is supposed to energize me and help with digestion and hydrate me, improve my immune system, curb hunger. I just decided to do it. And after doing it, sure, I think that all works. I haven't exactly seen the proven effects, but I really enjoy having that as part of my morning routine. And you know what it also does? Makes my coffee taste almost sweeter. So I do it every day and then I go to my coffee. And it's something that I think is just a nice part of my morning routine. So the last thing on the list is setting out your daily agenda for the day. And we will talk about time management in another session. But this is before you start your day, laying out what you want it to look like, laying out when you're going to work, when you're going to run errands, when you're going to work out, when you're going to teach if you're teaching your kids at home, really when you're going to connect with friends, what you want your day to look like and what you want to accomplish. So remember, life is all about choices. So you are choosing to decide and set out a plan for your day. And then guess what? Then life happens. Then you've got to pivot. Then you've got to adapt. But making that plan in the morning is grounding you. It's like aligning yourself in the AM from sort of a state of mind type of way. Being grounded points you in the direction that you want to go so that if you get knocked off course, it's easy to find your way back because you've given yourself a foundation. It's easier to pivot when needed because now you know where you want to go. So let me just make a mention on habits. So there is a ton of research out there on habits. It used to be that it took 21 days to form a habit, and now that data is all over the place, and it depends on a number of factors, like how much you're interested in it or how different it is from what your normal process is and what your normal day is like. But commitment is probably the most important thing about building a habit, coupled with desire. So with commitment, you have to take actions every day. And if you don't, it's okay. Get back into it. Get back on the horse. Fall off the horse, get back. Practice again. Forgive yourself. Do it the majority of time. And desire, it has to be something that has enough deep meaning for you that you want to accomplish or do this, and that'll help you stick to it. And how do you stick to it? Well, you set reminders. Maybe it's lists. Maybe it's something you pin up on your wall, like we've talked about. Maybe it's setting it in your calendar. Maybe it's putting reminders on your watch or on your computer. Maybe it's preparing the day before. So you have a place that you're going to meditate. You have your blanket there already. You have your cup out and your lemon squeezer, ginger grater. Whatever it is, you are ready and prepared for it. There's also two things that I think are helpful that I've learned. They both came from a really cool course that I've been taking with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. The first one is piggybacking. So if you're already doing something, add one of these other things right on the back of it. So it's not completely and totally starting it new. So let's say you already write in your planner in the beginning of the day. Why don't you just take a couple more minutes to write in your journal? Or like me, when I already stretch in the morning, I decided to add those ab and butt exercises. I'm already on the floor. I'm already setting that time aside. So how can you piggyback one of these things onto what you already do? Another piece that I took away from that class that I like is NET, N-E-T, no extra time. So this is a form of multitasking, I guess. And sometimes multitasking can draw your attention in too many different ways. But this is a little bit different. This is more conducive to learning and focusing. So for example, I will turn my podcast on when I'm stretching and when I'm doing my abs. And also when I'm doing dishes. I will connect with friends when I'm driving back from dropping my son at his dad's house. Today, I planned on going for a bike ride about 1 o'clock with my son. And about 12:45 or 2 o'clock, excuse me, about 1:45, the rain started falling because I never look at weather. I don't know why. I just don't. So I was like, shoot, what am I going to do? I want to work out. I have an elliptical, but I stared at it for a few minutes because I didn't want to waste that half hour I'd be on the elliptical because I still had work to do. So I went to a course. I took another module of my course while I was on the elliptical. And then what I will do later is spend that quality time I was going to spend with my son on a bike in a different way later today. So I added that on to something already. No extra time. I really like it. But be careful and be mindful that you don't try to focus on too many things at once. Your attention needs to be somewhat focused, but there are some things you could do at the same time. So I'd like to share, I know this is going really long today. I'm sorry. I think I was really off course with these technical details, so I do apologize. But a couple more things here. Let me give you an example of my morning routine that I've developed over years, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I'm able to do it. And I'm able to do it now with my own business at home and my own schedule, but I was also able to do it when I was gone into the city 12 hours a day commuting. So here's what my routine looks like. I try to think good thoughts and be grateful or pray as soon as I wake up before I get out of bed. I read my affirmations while I'm brushing my teeth. They're on the cabinet. I immediately meditate, and maybe I add in some of my daily intentions. And then I go into the living room and I lay down and I stretch and maybe do those abs or butt workouts while I am listening to a podcast. And then I make my hot water and lemon and I sit down and maybe I read some more inspiration and I write my journal. And then I plan my day in my day planner. So it seems like a lot, but I have to tell you, this can take as little as 20 to 30 minutes, or it can take up to 2 or 3 hours if you wanted to. What I used to do when I worked in a city is I would get up and meditate and stretch and say my affirmations, right, before I got in the shower. And then on the train on the way into work, I would read my inspiration and write in my journal. In the great before COVID, I would wake up at 7 and wake up Ethan up at 8, and I would do almost all those things before I got him up at 8. Now, of course, there's no such thing as time, and it's easy to get a little bit more wavy with my routine, but I bring myself back to it every day because I've realized that I have a choice, and I've realized that I am absolutely better when I align myself in the morning. I am more clear. I am more peaceful. I am more joyful, and I'm usually more successful all day long when I take this time for myself. I'm also more loving and more patient and more supportive with not only my son, but my friends, but my family, and even my clients and colleagues. So today we talked about a lot. First, we talked about presence, and then on taking the time to align yourself through good thoughts, gratitude, affirmations, meditation, morning movement, inspiration, journaling, gratitude, drinking hot water with lemon and ginger, and planning out your day. Keep in mind that you can do any of these activities anytime throughout the day, but I would encourage you to try some of them in the morning before your day hits so that you can ground yourself. But if things work for you other times, that's great. If you want to, journal at before you go to bed, do it. If you want to stretch in midday, bend away. Maybe you pray and find inspiration all day long. That's fabulous. Whatever works for you. But I do encourage you to try something in the morning that go ahead and aligns you. And you will start to see the benefits. You become aware of how it helps you. You realize the desire to do it because you start to feel better and be a better version of yourself. You choose to incorporate some of these strategies, and you know that they can work for you, even if you don't see the benefits right away, because you believe and you take action and you practice every day. So again, long-winded today. I thank you again for watching and for sharing and for being open-minded and for maybe taking that chance to step out of your comfort zone. I hope this inspires you. Feel free to learn more about me and my business, which is Energy, HR, and Coaching, either on my Facebook pages or on LinkedIn. Feel free to leave comments or message me and let me know if this is helpful, if you have any feedback, if there are other topics that you'd like to discuss. So I'll see you next Monday at 4. I think we'll talk about nutrition, movement, and self-care. And remember, take steps every day in the direction of the life you want to live. Thank you. Have a good week.